Barakathe Yahweh, Barakathe Yahweh Shai, all praises, honor, and glory be unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kadash. A double honor to our apostles at Great Millstone who taught us his truth and who rule well. A peace, love, salutations, and mercy be unto the hopeful elect. Alright, this is going to be a quick one going into how these red Hebrew Idumeans are defiling our land and are in our land, and that them getting the land under the Balfour Declaration was not a fulfillment of prophecy. That was not the fulfillment of the prophecy of the Israelites are returning back to their homeland. The way that the Israelites are going to return back to their homeland, all right, and are placed back into that land is by way of the Messiah redeeming them and taking them out of the captivity wherever they are scattered throughout the four corners of the world, if they be part of the elect, and bringing them into the land of Israel. The scripture says that no man shall buy you, meaning that no man shall quinai you. All right, the word quinai in Hebrew means that no man shall redeem you. All right, the only one that can redeem us, all right, and it started 2,000 years ago of him redeeming us, is the Messiah, which he purchased us through his blood, through his sacrifice, through his atonement, the atonement that he gave by way of laying down his life. And he's going to return, all right, again, and he's going to redeem us from the places where we are scattered throughout the four corners of the world, if we be a part of the elect, a part of that number, fervent believers in him, keep his commandments, and have fear in the Most High Heavenly Father, in which these Jews over in the land of Israel, these people that are calling themselves Jews, but are really of the synagogue of Satan, they're not the true biblical Israelites. And what proves that they're not? The way that they got the land. All right, it was the British under the Balfour Declaration that allowed them to annex that land from the Palestinians, which that land doesn't belong unto the Palestinians either. When you go into the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter in the 2nd verse, it says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my lands. So the land right now is being parted between red Hebrew Idumeans, as well as the Arabs, as well as Ishmaelites. The land doesn't belong to either of them. The land belongs to, ultimately, our power who is in heaven, our Yahweh, as it states right here in Leviticus 25 and 23. It says, the land shall not be sold forever, for the land is mine. For ye are strangers and sojourners with me. So the land belongs unto Yahweh. But ultimately, he gave the land as a possession unto the children of Israel. It was given unto Isaac, all right? And through Isaac, it was given unto Abraham, and through Abraham unto Isaac, and from Isaac unto the children of Israel. When you go into the book of Genesis, the 26th chapter, and actually, verse 3 and verse 4, it says, sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee. And this is Yahweh speaking unto Isaac. It says, and will bless thee, for unto thee and unto thy seed will I give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swore unto Abraham thy father, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and I will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all nations of the earth be blessed, because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. and Isaac dwelt in Gerar. So this was spoken to Isaac. But the same thing was spoken unto Jacob when you go over to Genesis, the 28th chapter, and you read verse 12 through 16. It says, and he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of Yahweh ascended and descended on it. And behold, Yahweh stood above it and said, I am Yahweh, power of Abraham, all right, the father of Abraham thy father, and the power of Isaac. All right, the land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it. So was this mentioned unto Esau? Was it mentioned unto Ishmael? No, it wasn't. This right here is being mentioned unto Jacob. It was mentioned unto Abraham. It was mentioned unto Isaac, and now it's being mentioned unto Jacob. All right, because that was his succession. That's who Yahweh Bashmi was dealing with. He wasn't dealing with the red Hebrew Idumeans. He wasn't dealing with the Ishmaelites. All right, the Arabs. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, all right, and to the north, and to the south, and then thee, and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Now, as you see, all right, it mentions the same thing unto Isaac, and the same thing is being mentioned unto Jacob. When it says of all the families of the earth, it's speaking about Israelites. All right, because each Israelite, all right, male or patriarch became great nations. All right, they became great nations. And not only did they become great nations, but they were scattered throughout the four corners of the world. And from there, through in the four corners of the world where they're scattered, all right, Yahweh Bashmi Awashai is going to gather them from those places. All right, he's going to gather them by way of his son Yahushai, through sending Yahushai to redeem them from the places where they are scattered. And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and will bring thee again into this land, for I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of. Spoke to thee of. And Jacob awaked out of his sleep, and he said, surely Yahweh is in this place, and I knew it not. So how is it that you have these red Hebrew Idumeans in the land calling themselves Jews, all right, and only identifying with one tribe and trying to prove to the world that by them going back and establishing the state of Israel in 1948, that was the fulfillment of prophecy? If that was the fulfillment of prophecy, why didn't the world see the Messiah gather you from wherever you were and bring you into the land? And also, where are the other tribes of the nation of Israel? Where are the other tribes? So why didn't the world see the Messiah gather you from the four corners of the world? And also, where are the rest of the tribes? Even in the beginning of them trying to set up the state, the Jewish that were in the land of Europe knew that something wasn't right about that. All right, for an example, I'm reading out of this book, The Fall of Jerusalem by Abdullah Shalifer. All right. And this is page 24. And it says, at the time of the Balfour Declaration, the bulk of Central European Jewry was either convinced by the then dominant Jewish arguments that a secular Zionist rather than a mystical and messianic return was sacrilege, or they had dismissed the concept as irrelevant to their own rapid assimilation into European mainstream. The Jewish socialists in Russia rejected assimilation before a sense of Jewish self-determination as a people with a European rather than a colonialist territorial destiny. So, all right, at the beginning, they even knew that according to the scriptures, that there is supposed to be a return of the Messiah to gather them through the four corners, gather them from the four corners of the world, or not them in particular, because they're not the Israelites, but to gather the Israelites from the four corners of the world. All right, which some of them thought that they were the Israelites. All right. To gather the Israelites from the four corners of the world and to bring them into the land, man. All right, even some of these Jews knew that something was off about this so-called Balfour Declaration. Even though that they're not the Jews, even though that they're not the Israelites. So what had to happen? They had to gain and persuade the people through, all right, forcing and faking the holy cost or the Holocaust, which is nothing holy about it. But, I was going to attempt to try to be slick about saying the word Holocaust, but screw it, man. All right, they had to fake that to get popular persuasion of the different nations to back them. All right, in their agenda of trying to seize this land from the Arabs that were in the land and to create a Jewish state. All right, but this was not biblical. Neither was it prophetic. All right, because had it been biblical and prophetic, it would have been Yahushua, and all of the rest of the tribes would have been gathered with them. It wouldn't have been a man that gave them the land back or gave them the land. So what they did was they stole the land, and they also stole an identity. Now with the true Israelites, Deuteronomy 30 and beginning at verse 3 tells you what's going to happen. All right, it says that then Yahweh thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee. It will return and gather thee from all the nations whither Yahweh thy power scattered thee. And if any of thine be driven out into the outmost part of the heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And Yahweh thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possess, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And not only will it just be the Jews, all right, it will be all of the tribes of Israel that are gathered together from wherever they're scattered. As it states right here in Ezekiel 37 and 21, which reads, and when you read up further, it talks about the two sticks being joined together. One stick representing Judah, the other one representing Ephraim. All right, the 12 tribes coming back together to be one. This is verse 21. And say unto them, thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and will bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. So when the Israelites are brought back into the land, as prophecy states, all of the 12 tribes are going to be one. And they're going to appoint them one king. Also, where's King David? If you're the true Israelites, where's King David? To rule over you. Because that's who's going to be our king in the kingdom of heaven. All right, it's going to be Yahweh. It's going to be Yahweh Shai. It's going to be King David. Then the 144. All right, 1,000. That's the governing body. All right, and that's how things are going to be set up in the kingdom of heaven. So, as I stated earlier, this is Matthew's the 24th chapter. This is who's going to bring us into the land, into the Holy Land. All right, this is who is going to set up the kingdom of heaven, man. This is Matthew's 24 and 30. It says, "And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together the elect from the four winds, all right, and from the ends of the earth, of the ends of heaven to the other." So from the four corners of the world, wherever they're scattered, all right, Yahweh Shai and the angels are going to gather the elect of the nation of Israel, man. All right, which is what? It's 12,000 out of each tribe of the nation of Israel. You know, when you go into Revelations, the 7th chapter, and going down to 9, it says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man can number, of all the nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands." All right, because they washed their clothes in the blood of the Lamb, and also the robes are what represents, you know, our purity. The palms represent the victory. All right, which the elect, they've gotten the victory through Yahweh Shai. But anyways, these particular people, because it says out of every kindred, nation, and tongue. Let's go back to verse 5 of chapter 5. And it reads in verse 9, it says, "And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeemed us unto Yahweh power, all right, by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation." And the reason that I grabbed this, all right, is because when they read verse 7, they like to say that they came, or that it was the nations, the other nations that were being gathered. No, in this particular verse, it lets you know that they were gathered out of every kindred, tongue, and people and nation. And furthermore, it says, "And has made unto us kings and priests, and we shall reign in the earth, on the earth." All right, now who was it spoken to that they would be kings and priests, man? All right, who was it spoken to? This is Exodus 19 and 6. "And ye shall be unto me." All right, this is being spoken unto the children of Israel. "And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation." All right, these are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. All right, so when Yahweh Shai gathered the elect, guess what? He's gathering 12,000 out of each tribe, but then also there's an innumerable multitude. All right, and that elect and that innumerable multitude makes up 1/3 of the nation of Israel. All right, it's going to be Yahweh Shai and the angels that gather them from the four corners of the earth, all right, wherever they be scattered, and bring them into the land. So, in this book, it says that some of those fake Jews considered the fact that they set up this Balfour Declaration, all right, to help them get the land back as sacrilege. All right, and the word sacrilege means violation or misuse of what is regarded as sacred. All right, so the sacred text, all right, promises that the Messiah is going to return and redeem the children of Israel from the captivity that they're in and bring them into the land. And also that land is sacred. All right, the Holy Land is sacred, man. What you devils are over there defiling right now with your homosexual acts, your eating of pork, and your defiled and disgusting lifestyles, man. All right. Also, sacrilege means a crime of stealing what is consecrated to Yahweh. All right. So we read in Leviticus 25 and 23 how that land belongs unto Yahweh. All right. It says temple robbery, a stealing of sacred things. And also, you stole his people. All right. We're sacred. All right. We're consecrated into Yahweh through the blood of Yahweh Shai, man. And you stole us. So anyway, hey, you got a lot to pay for, all right? And you're gonna be held to the highest regard for identity theft, man. All right, here it is. You lock people up for identity theft. All right, for robbery, for extortion. All right, for stealing the deeds to someone's land. All right, when you're guilty of these crimes to the high extent, and you're about to pay the fullest penalty of that, man. So with that, I hope that this lesson was edifying. Until the next time, shalom.